I've always been the type to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's why I didn't see it sooner, or maybe deep down, I didn't want to. Her name was Alicia, and for the past year, I truly believed she was the one. She had that effortless charm, the kind of laugh that turned heads in a crowded room, and for a while, she made me feel like the luckiest man alive. Until one night changed everything. It was a high-profile networking gala, the kind of event where everyone dressed a little too fancy, sipped overpriced cocktails, and pretended they were far more important than they actually were. Alicia had insisted we go. It's an exclusive guest list, Logan. A real opportunity for you to connect with the right people. That should have been my first clue. Looking back, she didn't care about me making connections. She was hunting for something better. At first, the night seemed normal. Alicia looked stunning in a sleek black dress, clinging to my arm like she was proud to be with me. We mingled, made small talk, and for a brief moment, I let myself believe everything was fine. Then I saw him. Marcus Hale. Older. Filthy rich. Known for collecting young, pretty women the way some people collect luxury cars. And Alicia was laser-focused on him. I watched as her grip on my arm loosened. Watched as she slipped away, making her way toward Marcus with an excitement she hadn't shown for me in months. I followed, keeping my distance, pretending not to notice. Then I heard it. Her voice was low, teasing, dripping with calculated charm. I swear, Marcus, men these days just don't know how to handle a woman like me. He chuckled, amused. Oh yeah, and what about your boyfriend over there? I saw her glance back at me. Saw the way her lips curled into a smirk. And then she said it. Oh, Logan? Please. He's just Plan B. Something inside me snapped. Plan B? Plan. Freaking. B. I should have walked over and caused a scene. Called her out, embarrassed her right then and there. But instead I smiled. Because in that moment I realized something. She thought I was dumb. She thought I was disposable. She had no idea she had just sealed her own fate. I turned on my heel, walked away, and pulled out my phone. If she wanted to trade up, I was about to make sure she lost everything instead. I left that ballroom feeling lighter. Not because I wasn't furious, but because for the first time, I saw Alicia for what she truly was. She wasn't my girlfriend. She was a social climber in designer heels. And if she wanted to play games, she had no idea that I was about to outplay her completely. I knew Marcus Hale. Not personally, but through business. I worked in investment strategy. Marcus was a high-profile venture capitalist. Our circles overlapped, but he had no idea I was Alicia's boyfriend. But he was about to. I found him near the VIP section, still nursing his whiskey. He glanced up as I approached, recognition flickering in his eyes. Logan, right? From Eastwood Holdings. That's me. Got a minute? He raised an eyebrow but nodded, intrigued. I took a seat across from him, leaned in slightly, and dropped the bomb. You might find this interesting. Your new admirer? She's actually my girlfriend. Marcus blinked, then laughed. Wait, Alicia? That was your girl. Was. I let the word hang there. She just called me her Plan B, while trying to cozy up to you. Marcus took a slow sip of his drink, considering this. Then he smirked. And what exactly do you want me to do with this information? I smiled. I want you to let her think she's winning. He exhaled a short chuckle. Go on. So I laid it out. We would let Alicia believe she was trading up. Let her lean into her gold-digging instincts, thinking she was about to secure a wealthy new man. And then we would pull the rug out from under her, publicly, brutally, in a way she would never recover from. Marcus listened, amused but interested. Then, after a long pause, he grinned. You know what? I like your style, kid. We clinked glasses, sealing the deal. Alicia wanted a high society upgrade. She was about to get one, just not in the way she imagined. Over the next few days, I did something completely unexpected. I pulled back. No arguments. No questions. No passive-aggressive comments. Instead, I acted supportive. I started being too busy for date nights. Stopped asking about her plans. When she mentioned Marcus in passing, I just smiled and nodded. And Alicia? She took the bait instantly. Her texts became shorter. Her tone casual. Almost dismissive. Then one night, she made the final move I had been waiting for. She came home late, dropped her purse on the counter, and sighed dramatically. Babe, I've been thinking a lot about us. Here it comes. I turned to her, feigning concern. Yeah. She bit her lip, pretending to be conflicted. I just feel like we've grown apart. I don't want to hurt you, but I think we should take a break. I almost laughed in her face. Instead, I ran a hand through my hair, sighing like I was actually heartbroken. I get it. If that's what you want, I won't stop you. Her eyes lit up for half a second. That's how I knew. She thought she was free. The next morning, she left for work with a little too much excitement. She thought she was walking into a new life. One where Marcus Hale would sweep her off her feet and make her one of his spoiled little accessories. And I made sure she got exactly what she deserved. That weekend, Marcus invited her to an elite dinner party. A gathering of real high society figures. Business moguls. Investors. Alicia was buzzing. She picked out a $1,500 dress she definitely couldn't afford, spent hours getting ready, and posted a cryptic Instagram story with the caption, "New beginnings." She thought she was leveling up. She had no idea this party was about to be the beginning of her end. She walked into that penthouse ballroom thinking she had finally made it. The chandeliers glittered above her, tuxedos crisp, waiters carrying trays of champagne. She thought she was among her new peers. She had no idea she was about to be put in her place. I stepped into my new life as she unknowingly stepped into her downfall. While she floated through the glittering ballroom, basking in the illusion of her own success, I remained in the shadows, watching, waiting. She had no idea what was coming. For the first half of the evening, Marcus played his role to perfection. He introduced Alicia to high-profile guests, letting her soak up the attention, even poured her a glass of vintage champagne. She ate it up, eyes shining with the arrogance of someone who believed she had won. She thought she was untouchable. Then the real show began. Marcus guided her toward a small circle of women, the kind who didn't just marry billionaires. They were billionaires. These women ran companies, controlled industries, and could see through a gold digger in 5 seconds flat. Among them was Victoria Stanton, poised and powerful, her piercing gaze sweeping over Alicia with polite curiosity. "So, Alicia," Victoria began, her smile sharp but distant, "what do you do?" Alicia flipped her hair, offering a practiced, dazzling grin. "Oh, I'm just figuring things out right now." Victoria arched a perfectly sculpted brow. "I see. And how do you and Marcus know each other?" Marcus, always the master of timing, placed a hand lightly on Alicia's back, his voice smooth as silk. "Oh, we met recently." She's very determined. The way he said it made the women exchange knowing glances. Alicia, still oblivious to the trap closing around her, giggled and leaned into him, assuming the night was going exactly as planned. Then Marcus struck. "Actually," he mused, swirling the last of his drink, "Alicia just left her Plan B boyfriend for me." The air in the room shifted. Alicia froze. The women perked up, sensing blood in the water. "Plan B?" Victoria echoed, her interest piqued. Marcus chuckled, a lazy, knowing smile playing on his lips. "Yeah. She told me she had a backup boyfriend while she looked for someone better." Silence. The kind of silence that suffocates. The kind that crushes the air from your lungs. Alicia's face went pale. Her mouth opened, then shut, scrambling for words, for control, but Marcus wasn't finished. "You know," he continued, as if the thought had just occurred to him, "I actually met her Plan B. Great guy. Real shame." Then he turned to her, his voice laced with amusement. "Oh, what was it you said about him? That he could never pull someone like you." A collective gasp rippled through the circle. One woman whispered to another, barely concealing her smirk. Victoria, ever the queen of composure, sipped her champagne. "Well, isn't that charming?" Alicia was spiraling. That's not, Marcus, why would you say that?" Her voice cracked, panic creeping in. Marcus simply leaned back, taking a slow sip of his drink before gesturing to a nearby waiter. "You know what? I think I've had enough company for one evening. Why don't you make sure Miss Alicia gets a ride home?" The final blow. Alicia's eyes widened in horror. "Marcus, no, I didn't mean." But he had already turned away, dismissing her without another glance. She wasn't moving up. She was being escorted out. In front of everyone. And as she stood there, humiliated, desperate, out of her depth, that's when she finally saw me. Standing near the bar. Watching. Smiling. Because in that moment, she finally understood. She hadn't just lost Marcus. She had lost everything. Alicia stood frozen, her carefully crafted illusion shattering around her. The murmurs grew, the whispers sharpened. The women eyed her with amused disdain. The men had already lost interest. She wasn't just rejected, she was irrelevant. Then her eyes locked onto mine. I watched the realization hit her like a truck. Her pupils shrank, her shoulders tensed, her lips parted slightly as if she wanted to say something, anything. But what could she say? She had spent the night draping herself over another man in front of me, called me Plan B, dismissed me as pathetic. And now she stood alone, unraveling. I took a slow sip of my drink, tilting my head, waiting. Alicia wasn't the type to accept defeat easily. She inhaled sharply, smoothing down the fabric of her expensive dress, forcing a smile. Then, with calculated grace, she walked straight toward me. "Logan, can we talk?" Her voice was softer now, almost pleading. I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I thought I was just Plan B." She flinched. "That's not, I didn't mean." I smiled, slow and knowing. "Oh, you meant it. Don't worry." Her eyes darted around the room. She could feel them watching, waiting for her next move. Her face was losing color fast. "Can we just go somewhere private? Please?" I pretended to think about it, taking my time. Then finally, nah. Her jaw tightened. "Logan, please. I got caught up in the moment, that's all. I was trying to make connections. I wasn't serious about Marcus." I laughed. A sharp, cruel sound. "Right. That's why you called me pathetic while flirting with him." She swallowed hard. "I didn't mean that." "Sure you did." I leaned in slightly, my voice low, deliberate. "And now, I mean this." She barely breathed. "We're done." Her lip trembled. "You don't mean that." I smirked. "Oh, I do. And unlike you, Alicia, I don't settle for less." Then, without another word, I turned and walked away. I didn't wait to hear her response. Didn't need to. I already knew. Behind me, she was spiraling. Panic rising. Fake confidence crumbling. Reality sinking in. She had lost everything. And the best part? No one cared. Alicia had spent her life believing she could trade people out like old shoes, that she could step on whoever she wanted and always land on her feet. But this time she fell. And no one was there to catch her. I didn't look back when I left the party. I didn't have to. The damage was already done. By the time I got home, my phone was buzzing. 3 missed calls, 7 texts. All from Alicia. "Logan, please. I need to talk to you. I made a mistake, okay? I'm sorry. You're really going to throw everything away over one dumb moment." I stared at my phone. Then slowly I turned it off. Let her sit with it. Let her feel the weight of her own choices. Over the next week, word spread. I never had to say a thing. Marcus's circle talked for me. Alicia? She went from aspiring socialite to a walking joke in record time. Invitations dried up. Calls went unanswered. Even her friends started distancing themselves. No one wanted to be associated with a desperate, exposed gold digger. Her last act of defiance was a cryptic Instagram post. Some people just can't handle a strong woman. No one cared. No likes. No comments. Silence. She had played herself. And now she had nothing left. A month passed. Alicia's world had crumbled. And now I knew exactly what was coming. One night, as I was sipping my drink, my phone lit up. "Alicia." I smiled. Of course. She had burned through every other option, and now she was circling back, returning to the one person who had actually given a damn about her once. I opened the text. "Hey, can we talk?" I let it sit there. A minute. Then another. Then 5. I knew she was watching. Waiting. Hoping. But I didn't need an explanation. I already knew exactly who she was. She wasn't sorry she hurt me. She wasn't sorry for choosing money over loyalty. She was only sorry because it didn't work. I exhaled slowly, took another sip of my drink, and smiled. Then I deleted the message. Didn't reply. Didn't engage. Didn't give her a single damn thing.